Okay, so if I had to lose all of the weight all over again, what would I do? Right? I would have all the knowledge that I currently have at 53, because here I am, the smallest size I have been since I am an adult. I want to tell you what I would do if I had to lose the weight all over again. The first thing I would do, yesterday in the video I shared, I talked about how I would eat low carb 90% of the time. Today I would tell you, as far as what I would eat is low carb food. I'd eat low carb. That would be my narrow path. And then to broaden the path, like when I go to a birthday party, an event, a Christmas party, a New Year's Eve party, whatever the circumstance is, I would have a broad path. But that broad path doesn't look like what it is that caused what I used to eat when I gained the weight. No, here's the narrow path where I live 90% of the time. I then have a broad path that I broaden it to, but I only allow myself to go to this broadened path 10% of the time. And those would be low carb treats. Those would be swaps. That's all I would eat, right? So if I'm somebody who's following the Whole30 protocol, I would eat Whole30 diligently every single day, 90% of the time. And then if we went to a wedding, I would allow myself to eat on the broad path while we're at the wedding. And that might look like eating things that are keto. Allowing myself to have, cheese and salami or whatever it is. You see what I'm saying? This is what I would eat. All right, I'm not going to go into the details because, that's everything I teach in the Seeker's Method. And yeah, I do have a Christian weight loss program. If you are a Christian, I don't want you to think you have to do this by yourself. I was stuck and couldn't lose weight. And I prayed, God, help me to lose this weight. And he said, Sherry, you haven't lost the weight yet because you haven't written the weight loss program. I had no idea I was going to write this weight loss program. I didn't know. I'm 8 years into coaching now over 600 women. I don't say this to sell you. No, I'm not selling a diet. I'm discipling. I'm showing women how to become who they are meant to be, how to step into the fullness of their freedom, to get unstuck, to stop living with the shame and the condemnation that they're living with. All of the self-chatter and the ways that we're teaching our children to perpetuate this unhealthy lifestyle of eating all of these foods. Okay, I digress. I would eat low carb, and I would have 90%, and I would have 10% where I would broaden that path on occasion when I would go out for events. I would think differently, and here's how I would think. I would think this thought: even though this is uncomfortable, I will do what I need to do, not what I want to do. I want you to see what I'm looking at here, because I captured all of these notes. Can I flip my phone around? Hold on. Okay, this is totally what I'm working from. If you need to, take a screen capture. But I want you to see this. Every day, this is what I would eat. This is how I would think. Even though this is uncomfortable, I will do what I need to do, not what I want to do. And I would start to think in alignment with my goals instead of just all of my cravings, right? I'd stop negotiating with discipline, and I would decide, this is going to work because I'm going to show up. My mind, if I started thinking that way, I would see that my mind would stop giving me permission to sabotage and to start being obedient. I hope that makes sense. Okay, the next thing is, this is what I would focus on. I will become the woman who lost the weight through Christ who strengthens me. Do you see how that would radically transform you? If you started believing, if you started trusting, if you started focusing differently, thinking differently, if you focused on the thought, I will become the woman who lost the weight through Christ who strengthens you, doesn't that actually encourage you from within? Help you to see the fullness of what this is all about? How else is Christ going to strengthen you than through the things where you need his power to work through you? Right? When else are you going to him? And here's the thing about that scripture. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. He strengthens you to do what you need to do, not what you want. And I would focus on the evidence of my growth, not only like evidence of results. I would ask myself, you know what? Can I expect that I'm going to be transformed? Did I show up for myself today? Did I choose better than I used to choose, right? Did I practice restraint? Because that's how you start creating new patterns to conform to. Did I care for the life that I say that I want? So if I had to lose the weight all over again, this is what I would trust on a daily basis. I know that doing the next right thing is all I need to do. That's it. Not the next thing I want to do. The next right thing. Right? Because at any given moment, I want to give you a Christian life coaching question to ask yourself. I want you to ask yourself, what's my goal here? Is it giving into my every feeling or doing what I know is right? If my goal is weight loss, then my feelings don't get to boss me around. That's why I teach my clients to become spiritually bossy. Stop being mastered and bossed around by your flesh. Okay, this is what I would do on a daily basis. This is how I would steward and develop obedience, right? On a daily basis, I do what I need to do, not what I want to do. I would start renewing my mind to these things. I need to do what I need to do, not what I want to do. Where I got this from, you want to know the truth? James 4:17. Because that was the scripture that snatched me right out of this world when I couldn't lose the weight. James 4:17 says, when you know what you should do and you don't do it, that is sin to you. That was the awakening scripture that I went through, that I read, that helped me to see my desperation for the Lord. When I read that, I realized I need to be focused on what I need to do, not what I want to do. And I started seeing just how serious this was. Of course I couldn't save myself. None of us can. Anyhow, that's what I would focus on. I would focus on the narrow path and what the broad path version of that looks like. I would focus on, even though it's uncomfortable, I will do what I need to do, not what I want. I will become the woman who lost the weight. That's what I would focus on. I would trust that I know that doing the next right thing is all I need. And then I would do what I need to do, not what I want to do. Anyhow, I hope this blessed you. And I want you to know, I have a Christian life coaching for weight loss community, and it's called the Seeker's Method. And this is exactly what I help women to do. I help them to see that they are completely capable of change. And they're capable of change not because they feel like it, right? Not because you feel like it, but because you know what you need to do to steward your body, to steward your mind, to steward your thoughts, your feelings, your focus, your trust, your doing, your saying and your doing. And I have lived long enough to know that consistency rewires who you are becoming. And that's why the Seeker's Method works so powerfully. Because I give you what you need on a daily basis. It's like the book coming alive to you every day, but you also have the coach. I help women to do this every single day, to take the next right step every single day. And when you work with me in the Seeker's Method, visit my website, sherrycapola.com. And then click on, I don't even know what you click on. I don't even know. Just go to my website, sherrycapola.com. See, this isn't about me trying to get you to join my program. I'm not her. That's not what this is about. This is me helping you to not only step into your deliverance, but then to be discipled so that you can walk it out and live it out. I don't hand you inspiration when you join me in the Seeker's Method. Go to my website, sherrycapola.com/seeker, or you can click on Seeker's Method in there. I walk women through mindset training, like renewing of your mind. I show you how to be disciplined in your thinking, how to be emotionally renewed, and how to steady your obedience. And I teach you how to stop craving all the lusts of your flesh and start governing your life with wisdom and strength in all areas, even in weight loss.